6 red flags that reveal the person next to you is evil. Dark Stoic psychology, Stoic life lessons. Evil doesn't always reveal itself with obvious signs, no dark cloak or sinister glare. Often, it wears a mask of kindness, a smile that hides its true intentions. The most dangerous people don't lurk in the shadows, they stand right next to you in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In this video, we'll expose 6 critical red flags that can help you identify truly toxic and manipulative individuals. These warning signs will completely shift how you view the people around you, giving you the tools to protect yourself from harm. Join us at Win Stoic as we dive deep into human behavior and explore how Stoic wisdom can help you see through the masks of those who may not have your best interests at heart. 1. The deceptive nature of evil people. In the world we live in, it's easy to overlook the people around us, to take their actions and words at face value. But there's a darker side to human nature that we must recognize if we want to protect ourselves: the deceptive nature of evil people. These individuals don't hide in the shadows, lurking with evil intent. They blend in seamlessly with the crowd. They become the light. They don't draw attention to themselves. Instead, they shine so brightly with kindness, charm, and sincerity that even the most discerning individuals can be fooled. They present themselves as caring, considerate, and trustworthy, making it incredibly difficult to spot the manipulation beneath the surface. In fact, their kindness often becomes a weapon, a tool to gain your trust and, ultimately, control you. But here's the key: true kindness has no agenda. It doesn't ask for anything in return. When someone's kindness feels too perfect, too rehearsed, it's a red flag. It's as if they've studied the art of kindness to manipulate others for their own gain. And that's exactly what they do. They study you. They learn what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel trusted, and they use this knowledge to earn your trust deliberately. It's not a theft of trust, but a calculated approach to gain it, one piece at a time, until you find yourself relying on them without even realizing the trap you've stepped into. This is why, in Stoicism Today, it's essential to understand that not everyone who appears kind has your best interests at heart. Trust must be earned over time, not given away freely. And sometimes, the most dangerous individuals wear the most dazzling smiles. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." When we practice Stoicism, we learn to recognize the things that truly matter, like self-awareness, emotional resilience, and wisdom. One of the key Stoic principles is understanding what we can control and what we cannot. We cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we react to them and how we set boundaries in our lives. If we allow ourselves to be deceived by manipulative behavior, we give away our power. The Stoic approach to happiness is rooted in the idea that external factors, including the behavior of others, should not dictate our peace of mind. But recognizing manipulation and toxic behavior is a crucial first step in maintaining that peace. Now, let's reflect on a key question. How do we protect ourselves from this kind of deception in a world where people often wear masks of kindness? It all comes down to self-awareness and reflection. Stoic happiness doesn't come from trusting others blindly, but from having the wisdom to recognize when trust is being earned in an authentic way. It's about knowing your values and maintaining a strong sense of self, so that when someone comes into your life with ulterior motives, you can detect the red flags early. This allows you to keep your emotional equilibrium and not be swept away by charm or manipulation. Evil, in its most subtle form, doesn't always come with obvious signs. The deceptive person might not present themselves as an enemy, but as a friend, a mentor, or even a lover. But behind their smile, there may be a hidden agenda that could be slowly chipping away at your happiness, peace of mind, and integrity. In Stoicism, we're reminded to practice virtue and focus on what we can control. We cannot control the deceitful actions of others, but we can control how we respond. By practicing discernment and setting healthy boundaries, we can protect our peace and keep ourselves from falling into toxic relationships that would drain our energy and our sense of self-worth. So, I ask you now, how do you set boundaries in your life to protect yourself from those who might have ulterior motives? Are there any relationships in your life where the kindness you receive feels too perfect, too rehearsed? Have you ever caught yourself questioning the true intentions of someone who seems to be gaining your trust a little too easily? These are the questions we must ask ourselves if we are to cultivate true Stoic happiness, one that is not dependent on the behavior of others, but rooted in our ability to make wise choices and protect our inner peace. Through Stoicism Today, we learn that we don't need to fear evil. It can be detected and avoided if we open our eyes, trust our instincts, and remain grounded in our values. Recognizing the deceptive nature of evil is not about becoming paranoid or distrustful of everyone around us. It's about being mindful and discerning, learning to tell the difference between true kindness and manipulation, and protecting ourselves from those who may not have our best interests at heart. Trust must be earned through consistent actions, not just words. And as Stoics, it's up to us to protect our peace by seeing the red flags early on. Only then can we truly live a life of Stoic happiness, one that is free from the manipulation and deceit that can poison our relationships and our sense of self. 2. Red flag number 1. They make you doubt yourself. The first sign that someone may have harmful intentions is when they start making you doubt your own reality. This is a subtle form of manipulation that doesn't show up with dramatic, obvious gestures. It's the small, incremental shifts that eventually leave you questioning your every thought, memory, and decision. At first it might seem harmless. Maybe they deny something they said or insist that an event never took place. You might chalk it up to a simple misunderstanding, but over time you start to notice a pattern. The person begins to twist the past, changing the narrative to fit their needs. As the manipulation grows, you'll start to find yourself explaining things that, under normal circumstances, should need no explanation at all. It might be something as simple as correcting a small detail about an event you both witnessed. But as these instances accumulate, they start to erode your confidence in your own perception of reality. This isn't just about them convincing you of their version of events. It's about them slowly convincing you that your judgment is flawed, your memory unreliable, and your instincts untrustworthy. In the beginning, they may only make subtle corrections, dismissing what you remember as a misunderstanding or "you must have misheard me." These minor corrections are easy to brush off, especially if the person in question seems confident and assured. They might even apologize, reinforcing the idea that you're the one overreacting and the issue is all in your head. But these small corrections over time begin to add up, creating a growing sense of doubt. It's like planting seeds in your mind, and as those seeds sprout, you begin to second-guess yourself more frequently. The more you start questioning your own judgment, the more control they gain over your reality. They don't need to directly force you into submission. Instead, they create a situation where you begin to control yourself. This process is insidious because the person doesn't need to shout or demand compliance. They only need to make you question your own thoughts and perceptions until you silence your instincts before they even have a chance to speak. You begin to second-guess what's true, what's right, and what's real. As this self-doubt festers, it becomes easier for them to manipulate you into doing what they want without ever having to make an explicit demand. Eventually, you will find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do, defending positions you didn't even take, or feeling guilt for misunderstandings that never existed in the first place. This type of manipulation can be incredibly damaging. It doesn't just make you question your memories, it undermines your entire sense of self. When you begin to doubt yourself, you lose your power. Your mind becomes clouded, and your ability to make decisions is compromised. You start to lose confidence in your own perceptions, and that is precisely what your manipulator wants. The Stoic life lesson here is clear. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Marcus Aurelius. The moment you let someone manipulate your perception of reality is the moment you give up control of your life. This is where Stoicism can provide a shield. Stoicism today teaches us to be vigilant about the stories we tell ourselves and to stay grounded in the present. When we trust our own perceptions and judgments, we can defend ourselves against the quiet manipulation of others. If someone repeatedly causes you to doubt your own memory, your experiences, or your feelings, it's time to step back and reflect. The wisdom of the Stoics reminds us that self-trust and clarity of mind are essential to living with virtue. This is why it's crucial to nurture your inner strength and not allow others to rewrite your reality. In today's world, we encounter manipulation in many forms. Whether it's a boss who subtly undermines your confidence, a friend who makes you second-guess your decisions, or a partner who insists you misunderstood something. In the workplace, for example, this might manifest as a superior repeatedly denying things they said in meetings, shifting blame for their mistakes, or insisting you misinterpreted their instructions. Over time, you might start questioning your own performance, wondering if you're failing to meet expectations, when the reality is that you've been gaslighted into doubting yourself. The same can happen in personal relationships, where subtle manipulation techniques leave you unsure of where you stand. Have you ever found yourself apologizing for something you didn't do, or explaining a simple situation that doesn't need further clarification? These are the tactics of someone trying to make you doubt your own thoughts and instincts. The key takeaway here is to trust yourself. Recognize when your perception of reality is being twisted and refuse to let others control how you view yourself. Cultivate self-awareness and reflection, qualities that Stoicism encourages. In moments of doubt, pause and consider whether the confusion is coming from within you or from the outside forces trying to manipulate you. As a Stoic, you learn to separate your emotions from external events, to observe without being overwhelmed by them. The most important thing to remember is that your mind is your domain. You are the master of your thoughts and perceptions. No one has the right to twist your reality unless you allow them to. By staying grounded in Stoic life lessons, such as understanding that we control how we respond, not what happens to us, you can protect yourself from falling into the trap of self-doubt and submission. Self-confidence, clarity, and trust in your own instincts are essential to navigating the manipulative behavior that seeks to erode your peace of mind. So take this as a reminder. Protect your mind, guard your reality, and stay true to what you know to be true. When you trust yourself, no one can take that power away from you. 3. Red flag number 2. They enjoy others' suffering. Have you ever been around someone who seems to derive pleasure from watching others fail or struggle? It's subtle, but when you pay close attention, you can feel it. These individuals, though they might not openly express it, often find themselves energized by the suffering of others. They might laugh a little too loudly when something bad happens to someone else, or take an almost unsettling amount of satisfaction when witnessing someone else's pain. It could be a colleague who smirks when a fellow worker makes a mistake, or a friend who seems to delight in gossip about someone's downfall. This is one of the clearest signs that something is wrong. These people thrive on destruction and chaos, and their enjoyment of others' suffering isn't just an occasional slip-up, it's part of their nature. As a high-value man striving to maintain control over your emotions and thoughts, recognizing this behavior early can help you protect yourself from toxic influences. You don't need to look far to see examples of this type of person. In the workplace, it could be that one coworker who finds humor in your mistakes, all while pretending to be supportive on the surface. Or perhaps you've noticed someone in your personal life who enjoys the drama of others' struggles, often adding fuel to the fire when tensions rise. It can be hard to spot this behavior because it's usually concealed behind a smile or a kind word. But the more you observe, the more you'll start noticing those little moments where their enjoyment of others' pain slips through the cracks. Maybe they linger just a little longer in the room when they know someone is going through a hard time. Maybe they subtly plant seeds of doubt, stir up tension, or intentionally disrupt the peace when things are calm. These are all signs of concealed sadism, a deep, twisted satisfaction in others' suffering. This is no accident. These individuals might not directly cause harm, but they excel at manipulating situations to create chaos. They stir up conflict, put people at odds with one another, and intentionally disrupt harmony, often without you realizing that they're the ones behind the disruption. They don't have to physically harm anyone. Their weapon is manipulation. They use words, actions, and even silence to create division, tension, and distress. And the worst part is, they don't even have to do it directly. Instead, they'll start planting seeds of doubt in your mind. Have you ever been in a situation where you found yourself questioning the intentions of a colleague or a friend, only to later realize that it was the person causing the problem all along? They manipulate the environment so subtly that it's difficult to trace the chaos back to them. It's almost like they're the puppeteer, pulling strings from behind the scenes, while everyone else is left to deal with the fallout. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And in this case, your happiness depends on the quality of the people you allow into your life. If you're surrounded by people who enjoy the suffering of others, it's only a matter of time before that negativity begins to seep into your own mindset. Just as the Stoic mindset teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot, the same applies to the people we choose to spend time with. If someone in your life seems to get a kick out of others' suffering, it's essential to take a step back and evaluate how much influence you're allowing them to have over your peace. Why do people behave this way? It's often rooted in insecurity and a need to feel powerful. Watching someone else struggle or fail gives them a false sense of superiority. It's an unhealthy way of boosting their self-esteem. Instead of building themselves up, they tear others down to feel better. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to rise above such behaviors. The truly strong and virtuous person is not one who enjoys the suffering of others, but one who seeks to elevate everyone around them, no matter the circumstance. A high-value man recognizes that there is no true victory in watching others fail. True strength comes from building others up and creating an environment where everyone can thrive. When you see this type of behavior in someone, it's essential to protect yourself from being dragged down by their toxicity. Now let's think about this. How often do you see people in your life or workplace who seem to be quietly pleased when someone else is struggling? Maybe it's a colleague who's always quick to point out someone else's mistakes, or perhaps it's a friend who seems to take joy in others' misfortunes. These individuals might mask their behavior with a friendly demeanor, but beneath the surface, they feed off the chaos they create. They don't have to do anything directly harmful. They just need to stir the pot and watch the drama unfold. Have you ever been around someone like that? Someone who makes a situation worse just because they enjoy the tension? It's time to recognize these red flags before they can damage your peace. As you move forward in life, remember this Stoic lesson. What we do now echoes in eternity. This isn't just about the actions we take. It's about the people we surround ourselves with. The energy we allow into our lives shapes who we become. If you allow toxic, sadistic individuals to stay in your circle, their negative energy will eventually influence your mindset. But if you learn to identify these red flags early on and set boundaries, you can protect your peace and keep your life in balance. Don't let someone's pleasure in the suffering of others disrupt your journey towards Stoic happiness. The most powerful tool you have is your ability to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate your reality and intentionally cause harm. By choosing to distance yourself from these toxic people, you safeguard your own peace of mind and your ability to live a virtuous life. The Stoic mindset is about focusing on what is within your control and cutting out the things that threaten your peace. A high-value man doesn't tolerate the suffering of others for personal gain. He seeks to cultivate an environment of positivity, respect, and understanding. It's up to you to decide who gets to be in your circle. Don't let someone else's love for chaos become your burden. Instead, strive for peace, clarity, and strength, and protect your mind from those who seek to disrupt it. Remember, the path to Stoic happiness and inner peace begins with the choices you make in the people you allow to influence your life. By identifying these red flags early, you can protect yourself from those who wish to control or harm you, and instead focus on building relationships that bring you joy, growth, and tranquility. 4. Red flag number 3. Their kindness is conditional. How often have you encountered someone who seems to go out of their way to be kind, only for that kindness to disappear when it's no longer convenient for them? If you've experienced this, you may have witnessed what I call conditional kindness, a behavior where the generosity or goodwill is only present as long as it serves the other person's interests. Real kindness, according to Stoic philosophy, is selfless. It doesn't expect anything in return. True kindness is unconditional, an act that requires no validation or reward. However, when someone's kindness is attached to a hidden agenda, it's not kindness at all. It's a calculated move to manipulate and control. Moments when someone in your life acted generously toward you, seemingly with no strings attached. At first, it may have felt heartwarming, perhaps even a little too perfect. But then, when you needed that person most, their support disappeared. Instead of being there to help, they became distant, cold, and indifferent. This isn't a coincidence, it's a red flag. The true nature of these individuals comes into view when their needs are no longer met. Their kindness vanishes, and in its place stands someone who is indifferent, even hostile. This sudden shift might catch you off guard, leaving you feeling confused or betrayed. This behavior, though unsettling, is rooted in manipulation. These people don't give without an expectation of return. They view every kind gesture as a calculated investment. They give to get, using their generosity as leverage to gain power, favor, or control. The kindness they show you is really a transaction, a way to secure something they want from you down the road. You might notice this dynamic in various areas of life, maybe at work, where a colleague is friendly as long as they need something from you, but once their goal is achieved, they turn cold, no longer acknowledging your efforts. Or perhaps in personal relationships, where someone seems overly supportive at first, only to withdraw when you don't meet their unspoken expectations. I'm sure you've seen people like this. They'll show up in the beginning, offer help, appear like the ideal friend or ally, but the moment their agenda is fulfilled, they ghost you. This kind of behavior can be especially damaging when it's someone you trust or rely on, because you might not realize the ulterior motive until it's too late. They never had your best interest at heart. They were just waiting for the right moment to capitalize on the trust they had gained. And when that moment passes, so does their kindness. It's a facade designed to manipulate you into giving them something they want, whether it's your time, your resources, or your loyalty. This tactic works because, at first glance, it's difficult to tell the difference between genuine kindness and manipulative generosity. The line is thin, but if you're paying attention, there are signs. You might start noticing that their actions always seem to serve their own self-interest, and if you ever ask for help or support in return, they're nowhere to be found. The Stoics would call this acting against nature. Their actions are not in line with virtue or true goodness. Instead, they are part of a strategy to gain control, making you feel indebted or vulnerable. Have you ever felt like someone was being nice to you just to get something out of you? Maybe a colleague who's been all smiles when they need help with a project, but once it's your turn, they are nowhere to be found. Or perhaps a friend who only seems to call when they need a favor, but when you need support, they're suddenly busy. It's a tough situation to be in, but it's also an important lesson. The Stoics teach us that our value doesn't lie in how much others give us, but in how much we are able to give ourselves without expecting anything in return. This principle of unconditional kindness is central to Stoic happiness. True peace comes not from receiving favors, but from having the strength and integrity to offer them freely, without strings attached. When you find yourself dealing with someone whose kindness is conditional, the best thing you can do is set boundaries. Recognize that their generosity is a transaction, not a gift. You don't owe them anything in return, and the moment you realize this, you regain control over your own choices. Don't let them use you as a pawn in their game of manipulation. Instead, focus on developing relationships with those who offer their kindness genuinely, expecting nothing in return. These are the people who will help you grow, who will support you when you're down, and who will stand by you because they care, not because they want something from you. A key part of Stoicism today is learning to recognize when we're being manipulated, especially by people who try to control us through false kindness. Remember that a high-value man doesn't rely on others' generosity for his own happiness or success. His self-worth is not tied to what others give him, but to the strength and character he builds for himself. The same goes for you. The Stoic mindset encourages you to stay grounded in your own principles and to offer kindness without expecting anything in return. Your value isn't determined by how much you can take from others, but by how much you can give from a place of true integrity. By learning to identify these red flags and distancing yourself from toxic relationships, you can protect your peace and continue to build a life rooted in stoic happiness. In a world that often rewards manipulation and self-serving behavior, it's important to remember that the truly valuable connections in your life are those based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine kindness. Conditional kindness, on the other hand, is a manipulation that only serves to drain you, distract you from your goals, and ultimately leave you feeling empty. So, as you go through life, pay attention to the people around you. Recognize who is giving from the heart and who is giving to get something in return. By doing so, you'll find it much easier to surround yourself with people who truly add value to your life. People who embody the principles of Stoicism and help you grow into the high-value man you strive to be. If you've ever experienced someone's kindness disappearing when you didn't meet their unspoken expectations, you've encountered conditional kindness. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a situation where someone's generosity turned out to be a manipulation? Drop a comment below and share your experience. 5. Red flag number 4. They betray without hesitation. Betrayal. It's one of the most painful experiences we can face, and when it comes from someone we trust, the wound cuts even deeper. Unfortunately, some people see betrayal not as a flaw, but as a tool to manipulate and gain power. If you've ever been betrayed without warning, you might have wondered how someone could so easily break the trust they once promised to uphold. The truth is, these individuals don't view loyalty as a virtue. They see it as a weakness, something to exploit for their own benefit. They may appear warm, loyal, and trustworthy on the surface, but their actions reveal a darker truth. They use people for their personal gain and discard them the moment they are no longer of value. This kind of betrayal doesn't come from a single moment of weakness, but rather from a pattern of behavior rooted in selfishness. They don't hesitate to betray others because, to them, it's just another strategy to climb the ladder or advance their own interests. The reality is that for these individuals, betrayal is often just another calculated decision. They justify it in their own minds, either as a way to secure a personal advantage or simply for the thrill of causing pain. What drives someone to betray without a second thought? For some, it may stem from the desire for power, money, or status, and they're willing to sacrifice relationships and integrity to achieve their goals. For others, the betrayal is not about the gain, it's about seeing the damage it causes. They thrive on the turmoil, the chaos, and the suffering they leave in their wake. There's a coldness to their actions, a lack of empathy that makes their betrayal so dangerous. It's not just that they betray, it's that they do it with no remorse, no guilt, and no sorrow. It's a part of their pattern. They don't feel bad for what they've done. In fact, they often view their betrayal as a smart move, a calculated risk that pays off. And when you confront them about it, don't be surprised if they offer a fake apology. This apology isn't meant to heal the wound. It's meant to make you question what you know, to confuse you, and to make you doubt your own reality. Look about situations where someone close to you, maybe a friend, a colleague, or even a family member, has betrayed your trust. Maybe they shared your private information, took credit for your work, or even undermined you for their personal gain. At first, you might be shocked, struggling to understand how someone could do such a thing. But as you reflect, you realize that their betrayal was no accident. It was part of a pattern, a consistent behavior that they've shown toward others as well. These people are skilled at hiding their true intentions behind a mask of charm or affection. But the moment you become a stepping stone in their path, they won't hesitate to cut you down, leaving you to pick up the pieces. Their betrayal doesn't feel like a mistake or a momentary lapse in judgment. It feels cold, calculated, and deliberate. There's no empathy in their actions. What makes these individuals even more dangerous is their ability to manipulate the situation after the betrayal. They might offer an apology, but it's not for your benefit. It's not to make amends. Instead, they offer a hollow apology to make you second-guess your feelings, to make you wonder if perhaps you overreacted. They may try to convince you that what they did wasn't as bad as you think, or that you misunderstood their intentions. They'll use this tactic to weaken your resolve and blur the lines between right and wrong. This is a classic example of gaslighting, manipulating you into questioning your own reality. But the truth is clear. Their betrayal was intentional, and their apology is just another tactic to regain control. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In the face of betrayal, it's easy to feel like a victim, to spiral into self-doubt or anger. But Stoicism teaches us to remain in control of our emotions and our reactions. The key to handling betrayal is not to let it shake your core. Recognize that betrayal comes from weakness, not strength. Those who betray others do so because they are not strong enough to live by the principles of integrity, loyalty, and honesty. Their actions are a reflection of their own lack of virtue, not a reflection of your worth. By maintaining your composure, refusing to be manipulated, and setting firm boundaries, you protect yourself from the damage their betrayal seeks to cause. In today's world, where manipulation and betrayal often go unnoticed or unpunished, it's essential to remain vigilant and aware of these red flags. It's easy to get caught up in the charm of people who may have ulterior motives, but learning to recognize the signs of betrayal can help you protect your peace. Remember that betrayal is not always a sudden event. It often comes in small, seemingly insignificant moments. A friend who borrows money and never returns it, a colleague who undermines you to get ahead, or a partner who lies about something small only to cover up a larger truth. These are all signs that someone may be willing to betray you when it benefits them. As high-value men, we must be aware of our worth and protect it from those who seek to use us for their own gain. Stoic life lessons teach us that our value does not depend on others' approval or loyalty, but on our own principles and actions. Betrayal can hurt, but it also serves as a powerful reminder to stay true to our values and to surround ourselves with people who genuinely respect and honor us. In the end, those who betray without hesitation reveal themselves as weak and lost in their own pursuit of power, while we remain strong in our commitment to live a life of integrity and virtue. 6. Red flag number 5. They lack empathy. One of the most unsettling traits a person can exhibit is an absence of empathy. At the core of human connection, empathy is what binds us together. It allows us to relate to each other's joys and sorrows, to share in the burdens of the world, and to support one another through tough times. Without empathy, there is no genuine connection, and without connection, there is only distance. But when someone lacks empathy, they are more than just distant. They are emotionally hollow. They don't mourn losses. They don't feel regret for their harmful actions. And they certainly don't care about the pain others endure. To them, emotions are not the bonds that unite us, but nuisances that distract from their personal goals. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to move on from tragedy too quickly, or acts as though they don't understand why others are upset? This is one of the clearest signs of a person who lacks empathy. They may show you a facade of concern, But that's all it is, a mask, carefully crafted to disguise their emotional emptiness. It's easy to mistake this behavior for coldness or selfishness, but it goes much deeper. These individuals do not simply choose to be distant, they do not have the emotional capacity to connect in a meaningful way. They may watch others suffer and feel absolutely nothing. They could be told about a tragedy, and their reaction would be detached, almost robotic. They may even offer words of comfort, but only because they've learned that this is what people expect when someone is in distress. But beneath the surface, it's all an act. Because they are incapable of truly understanding or caring about the emotional experience of others. This emotional void makes them dangerous, because someone who is incapable of feeling empathy is capable of anything. A person without empathy is not bound by the same moral compass that guides others. They can manipulate, betray, and even harm others without hesitation because they do not see their actions through the lens of human connection or compassion. In a real-world scenario, you've just gone through a difficult experience, a breakup, the loss of a loved one, or a setback in your career. You seek comfort from a friend, only to find them offering you empty words and no real concern. Instead of sharing in your pain or offering a comforting embrace, they act indifferent, as though your suffering is an inconvenience to them. Someone who can't feel for you when you're down is not someone who will lift you up when you need it, and that's where the danger lies. When a person lacks empathy, they are essentially emotionally disconnected from everyone around them, and this disconnect makes them unpredictable and unsafe. A prime example of this can be seen in workplace dynamics. Think about someone who constantly undermines their colleagues or takes credit for their work without a hint of guilt. They do it to climb the corporate ladder, oblivious to the fact that their actions harm those around them. They show no remorse when their behavior damages relationships or morale because, for them, other people are simply stepping stones to their success. They do not empathize with the struggles of their peers. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once stated, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This is a powerful reminder that true strength comes from the ability to understand and align ourselves with virtue. In contrast, those who lack empathy operate from a place of self-interest, completely detached from the humanity of others. The real danger in these individuals is that their indifference allows them to act without restraint. A person who feels nothing cannot be reasoned with. They can make decisions that are harmful without any internal conflict. They may see you as an obstacle to overcome, rather than a person with emotions and needs. They will exploit your vulnerability for their gain, knowing that their lack of empathy makes them impervious to guilt or regret. The deeper the void of emotion, the more dangerous their actions become. And that's why their behavior is so destructive. It's not just that they hurt people, it's that they do so without ever looking back, without the slightest remorse or self-reflection. In life, this trait can be incredibly subtle, but immensely harmful. Think about the countless individuals who engage in manipulative behaviors in relationships, whether in the workplace or in personal connections. They may feign empathy, nodding along with your troubles, offering hollow phrases like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I understand, that must be tough." But these words are simply tools used to maintain control over you. They don't care about your feelings. They care about using your emotions to their advantage. How do you deal with someone who plays these emotional games? The key is to remain aware. Notice when the empathy they show is just a performance, when the words don't match the actions. Pay attention to whether they really take the time to understand your pain, or if they just move on quickly, as if it doesn't matter. As high-value men, our emotional intelligence should be our shield. Recognizing these behaviors before they take root allows us to protect ourselves and ensure we're surrounded by people who truly value us for who we are. The Stoic mindset teaches us to guard our peace and inner stability above all else. When we face people who lack empathy, we don't have to engage in their emotional games. We can maintain our integrity, stay grounded in our values, and not allow their indifference to affect us. Stoicism today reminds us that we are not at the mercy of others' emotions or behaviors. We have the power to choose how we react, and by developing emotional resilience, we become less susceptible to being hurt by those who thrive on our vulnerability. If you've encountered someone like this, remember that your sense of worth does not come from their approval or empathy. They cannot take away your peace unless you allow it. To be clear, recognizing these behaviors isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious of everyone around you. It's about understanding that some people, due to their lack of empathy, will never be capable of the connection you seek. And that's okay. You don't need to invest emotionally in everyone you meet. Instead, recognize these red flags early and practice healthy boundaries. As high-value men, we do not waste time trying to change those who are incapable of change. We invest in relationships with people who can truly offer us understanding, compassion, and respect. Individuals who lack empathy may appear normal on the surface, but their inability to connect emotionally with others makes them dangerous. They operate from a place of detachment, never understanding the true impact of their actions. They are emotionally void, and this emptiness allows them to act without guilt. Recognizing this in others and understanding how to protect yourself is crucial in maintaining your peace and emotional well-being. By cultivating a Stoic mindset and staying true to your values, you can avoid falling victim to those who thrive on manipulation and indifference. As you continue on your journey as a high-value man, remember that empathy is a strength, not a weakness, and that you have the power to choose who you allow into your inner circle. 7. Red flag number 6. They seek control over others. When someone seeks control over others, they're not interested in the same things most of us value: love, mutual respect, or genuine connection. Instead, they crave domination. They're not trying to build partnerships or friendships. They're seeking power over those around them. The key distinction here is that they don't want equals. They don't want true collaboration or camaraderie. They want subordinates, people they can manipulate, bend to their will, and keep under their thumb. This desire for control is often masked in charming behavior or friendly gestures, but if you look closely, you'll notice the underlying motive: to create a hierarchy in which they stand at the top and you are always beneath them. This is one of the most insidious traits of toxic individuals, and it's something that can be difficult to recognize until it's too late. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you were being led into making decisions you didn't really want to make, but somehow you ended up agreeing anyway? That's the subtle art of manipulation, a tactic often used by those who seek control. There are many ways people like this wield power over others, but the most dangerous form of control isn't overt. It's subtle, insidious, and psychological. Some use fear and intimidation, threatening consequences if you don't comply with their demands. You'll recognize this behavior in those who use harsh words or aggressive tactics to keep you in line. But the truly dangerous ones don't need to use force. They don't need to raise their voice or issue threats. Instead, they manipulate situations in such a way that you willingly surrender control, believing that the choices you're making are yours to make, even though the truth is that they've already orchestrated the entire scenario. It's like a puppeteer who pulls the strings so subtly that you're not aware you're being manipulated until you realize, too late, that you've already lost your freedom. They create a reality where you think you're in control, but the truth is that they've already set the stage for you to play your part. One of the most disturbing aspects of people who seek control is their ability to break others down slowly, piece by piece. At first, their demands might seem small. Perhaps they ask for a little favor here or a minor concession there. But over time, these requests build, and if you give in once, they'll push harder the next time. If you excuse their behavior even once, they know they've cracked your armor. You've just given them a foothold, and now they know that, with enough patience, they can gradually erode your boundaries. Have you ever had a friend or colleague who constantly pushes you to do things for them, always just a little bit more than you're comfortable with, until you finally realize that you're doing things for them that you'd never do for anyone else? This is how control works, slowly, subtly, until it becomes the new norm. And when you begin to question their actions, they will always have a rational explanation, making you feel guilty for even considering that something is wrong. This manipulation is an art, and those who seek control are experts in making you doubt your own instincts and perceptions. At the heart of this manipulation is what's known as the illusion of choice. They'll make you believe that the decisions you're making are your own, that you're willingly giving them power or control. But in reality, they've set the stage from the very beginning, and all your decisions have been carefully guided. This illusion is so powerful that even if you start to sense something isn't quite right, you'll find it hard to pinpoint exactly why. You may ask yourself, how did I end up here? Or why am I allowing this to happen? The answer lies in the fact that from the very start, they've been guiding you toward this point without you realizing it. The more you give in to their demands, the more you'll find yourself giving up your autonomy piece by piece, until you're left in a position where you feel trapped. Now, picture a work environment where a manager or boss constantly pressures their team to go above and beyond, often pushing personal boundaries for the sake of the company. At first, the requests seem reasonable. Stay late to finish a project, take on extra responsibilities, skip your lunch break to help out. But as time goes on, the requests increase. Your work-life balance suffers, your personal time is compromised, and you find yourself feeling guilty for not meeting their demands. They never outright threaten you, but they give you subtle signals, maybe a cold shoulder when you need a break, or a suggestion that you might not be cut out for this job if you don't comply. Slowly but surely, you begin to feel like the problem is with you, not with them. In this situation, the power dynamics have shifted without you even realizing it. What began as a simple request has turned into a power play, and you've slowly surrendered control without even knowing it. This is a prime example of what Stoicism teaches us to be wary of, the erosion of our own willpower. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus reminded us that we are the masters of our own thoughts and actions. When we let others control us, we give away our inner strength. Freedom is the only true possession, Epictetus said, and anyone who takes it away from you is stealing your peace. So, when you recognize someone seeking to control you, it's essential to remind yourself of this. You are not beholden to anyone's manipulation. You have the power to resist and reclaim your autonomy. In terms of modern life, it's important to develop a strong understanding of your boundaries and to trust yourself enough to enforce them. Do you feel comfortable with the way others are treating you? Are you being pressured to do things that go against your values or your well-being? Recognizing these warning signs can help you protect yourself from falling into the trap of manipulation. True strength, as the Stoics believed, comes not from the ability to dominate others, but from the ability to control your own mind and actions. If you're constantly finding yourself yielding to the whims of someone else, you need to step back and reassess your own values. True power comes from within, and it's up to you to protect your peace and your autonomy. No one should have the right to control your thoughts, your actions, or your destiny. It's important to recognize these red flags early and take steps to distance yourself from individuals who seek to manipulate or control you. The more you embrace the Stoic mindset, the more you will find your inner strength to stand up to these power plays and maintain your personal sovereignty. In conclusion, the individuals who seek to control others do so with the ultimate goal of domination. They use manipulation, fear, and subtle tactics to break you down, erode your boundaries, and create an illusion of choice. But by recognizing these tactics early, you can protect yourself and maintain your autonomy. As high-value men, it's essential to be aware of these signs and to remain steadfast in our principles. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom lies in controlling ourselves, and it's in this control that we find true power. So, next time you encounter someone who seeks to control you, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. The only way to deal with this life meaningfully is to find your own peace and not let anyone take it from you. 8. How to protect yourself. In a world filled with complex relationships and layered personalities, it's crucial to develop the awareness to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate, control, or deceive you. These individuals are not always easy to spot, but there are telltale signs, red flags, that once recognized can help you protect yourself from their toxic influence. As men who seek to live with a strong sense of purpose, understanding these signs is an essential aspect of living a Stoic life, where mental clarity, self-control, and personal autonomy are paramount. There's an old Stoic saying by Epictetus: "We are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens." This is a powerful reminder that you are the one who controls your mind, not the manipulative forces around you. So what can you do to protect yourself? The answer lies in awareness, control, and refusal to play the game they set up for you. The first step to protecting yourself is awareness. Awareness is your greatest weapon against those who would seek to manipulate or control you. Evil thrives in blindness and ignorance. When you don't see the truth, you can't defend yourself against it. When you recognize that someone is trying to control or deceive you, their power over you weakens. You've pulled back the veil, and the power they held over you is no longer as strong as it once was. It's much like a magician revealing the secret to their trick. Once you see it, it loses its mystique. This is true with manipulative people. Once you can see their tactics for what they are, whether it's control through fear, manipulation, or deceit, you can start to dismantle their influence over your life. The more aware you are of their actions, the more you reclaim control over your thoughts and emotions. This is a key element of Stoicism today, not allowing external circumstances or people to control your emotional state. Instead, you take charge of how you respond, maintain your inner peace, and hold on to your integrity. So, what happens when you do see it? What do you do when you realize that someone is trying to manipulate or control you? you refuse to play their game. When you stand firm in your truth, you take away their power. They can only manipulate you if you allow them to rewrite your reality. This is where a lot of people get caught. They start to doubt themselves, questioning whether they are being unreasonable, whether they are overreacting, or whether they should just give in. But the key to protecting yourself is to stop seeking validation from those who manipulate and deceive. Their validation is a trap. It's a way for them to get you to question your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and ultimately your own worth. This is something high-value men know. You don't need approval from others, especially from those who only want to tear you down or control your life. You are the one who defines your value, not them. So stand firm in your own truth and don't let them rewrite your narrative. There is another crucial point here. Breaking free from their influence is not about arguing with them, explaining yourself, or pleading with them. They already understand what they are doing. In fact, one of their favorite strategies is to get you to question your own sanity or sense of reality. They want to pull you into endless debates, get you caught in emotional discussions, and keep you in a cycle of uncertainty. But Stoic wisdom tells us that the way to peace is through inner control, not external validation. You don't need to engage with them. You don't need to try to convince them of anything. The more you argue, the more you stay entangled in their manipulation. The true strength lies in refusing to participate in their game. When you do this, you've already won. In Stoic philosophy, this is about controlling your reactions and letting go of external attachments that disturb your peace. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The most important thing you can do when protecting yourself is to take back control of your mind, your choices, and your life. When you refuse to let anyone manipulate you, you empower yourself. Their tactics can only work if you allow them to. The truth is, no one can control you unless you let them. The way to maintain control over your life is to make intentional decisions about how you engage with others and what influence you allow them to have on you. This is where the Stoic mindset comes into play. Being able to separate your emotions from the actions of others, recognizing that only you have the authority to control how you feel, gives you immense freedom. Remember, you have the power to choose your thoughts, your reactions, and how you live your life. Don't let anyone take that away from you. A person who cannot be manipulated is a person who has taken their power back. This is terrifying to someone who thrives on controlling others. The manipulator wants you to doubt yourself, to question your worth, and to hand over your power. But when you are steadfast in your boundaries, your principles, and your own truth, their manipulation loses its effectiveness. They can't control you if you are in charge of yourself. And the only way to win against such individuals is to walk away. You don't need to stay in toxic situations, trying to fix things or make peace with people who refuse to respect your boundaries. The greatest strength is in knowing when to walk away, when to step out of their game and refuse to engage. This is the ultimate act of self-respect. In life, we often find ourselves in situations where we feel trapped, whether it's in a relationship, a job, or a social setting. The pressure to conform, to seek validation, or to appease others can feel overwhelming. But here's the crucial point. The moment you choose to stop playing their game and refuse to engage in their manipulative tactics, you are reclaiming control over your life. This doesn't mean walking away from all challenges or avoiding difficult conversations. It means refusing to let others pull you into a cycle of control, manipulation, and uncertainty. It means standing firm in your beliefs, knowing that your peace and your well-being are more important than any fleeting validation or approval someone may try to offer. The Stoic life teaches us that freedom and happiness come from within, from our ability to control our thoughts and actions, and from our refusal to let external forces dictate our emotional state. When you recognize manipulation and refuse to participate, you are taking back your peace, your mind, and your autonomy. This is a crucial aspect of Stoicism today. Protect your mind from those who seek to control you and maintain your inner peace. When you do this, you will find that the power lies with you and not with the person who seeks to control or manipulate you. By following these principles, you will live a life of strength, clarity, and true freedom. Protecting yourself from toxic influences requires awareness, control, and refusal to play their game. Once you see their manipulation, you weaken their power over you. Stand firm in your truth. Stop seeking validation from those who deceive and break free from their influence by refusing to engage in their emotional games. Take back control of your life and your mind, and remember that the most powerful weapon you have is the ability to walk away. In doing so, you will create a life of stoic happiness, one that is defined by your own values, peace, and freedom. As we come to the end of this video, remember that evil doesn't always reveal itself easily. It thrives in deception, manipulation, and control, and often it's up to us to spot the red flags before it's too late. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and most importantly, stay free. By applying the Stoic principles we've discussed today, you can protect your peace, grow stronger, and live a life of clarity and purpose. So, I encourage you to reflect on these lessons and apply them in your daily life. What are some red flags you've noticed in your own relationships? How do you protect yourself from manipulation? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're using these Stoic life lessons to foster personal growth and happiness. Don't forget to like and share this video with anyone who might benefit. Stay strong, stay wise, and remember, your mind is your greatest ally. Stay tuned for more on Stoic.